Welcome to the advisor training for the 2021-2022 academic year. This video will go over our expectations of advisors, resources for you and your student leaders, and some important processes you should be aware of. Please make sure you complete the short quiz after watching this video to ensure you receive credit for completing this online training. You can also download a copy of this presentation so you can refer back to it and click through any links throughout the presentation. Be sure to check your email for regular communication from the Student Engagement Office on your campus. If you are worried you are not receiving our newsletters, please contact your campus staff. We will send information about any additional trainings, updates on policy, and ways your organization can be more involved in the ASU community. Also, please be aware that policies regarding COVID-19 are constantly changing. Visit the link on this slide for more up-to-date information regarding COVID-19 on campus. As an advisor, you serve as the bridge between the university and the student leaders you work with. Your goal is to create a cohesive experience both inside and outside of the classroom. Our advisors should mentor leaders, collaborate with colleagues, and connect students that share similar passions and interests through their organization. Advisors also play an active role in developing students into leaders and positively impacting the overall well-being of the students involved in the organization. Faculty members in the roles of professor or lecturer that have 2 or more years of experience at ASU are qualified to be a primary advisor. ASU staff members that have 3 or more years of experience with student support are also qualified to be a primary advisor. Faculty with less than 2 years of experience or in the role of researcher or instructors are qualified to be secondary advisors. Other roles that are qualified to be secondary advisors are graduate student positions and ASU staff with less than 3 years of experience. Current advisors should complete training by March 31st before the re-registration process starts on April 1st. The student officers should be completing the re-registration process on Sun Devil Sync during the month of April. If you are an advisor for a newly formed club, you will need to complete this training within 2 weeks of the organization being registered on Sun Devil Sync. Failure to complete the advisor training or the re-registration will cause the organization to be temporarily frozen until the processes are complete. Make sure you complete the quiz with this training and that the student leaders of your organization complete the registration process in order to avoid being frozen. As an advisor, you should schedule regular meetings with the officers of your organization. You should be aware of any issues that are arising within the organization and any events or initiatives that the students are putting on. You do not need to attend every general body meeting, but you should work with the officers to determine how often you should meet. As an advisor, you should be familiar with the organization's constitution and any governing documents. These should provide information on officer duties, conflict resolution, and general expectations of the organization. As the advisor, you should be able to use these documents to guide and support your students as needed. Communication is an important part of the relationship you have with your student organization. Make sure you are in regular communication with the officers of your organization. Let them know the best way to contact you and make sure you are checking in with them often. The training you are doing now is an important first step in making sure that you are meeting the requirements of being an advisor. Throughout the semester, consider attending any other trainings offered by the Student Engagement Office and make sure to stay connected with the office on your campus through regular newsletters and emails. As an advisor, you have 3 major roles. You serve as a consultant to your organization, a mentor to the student leaders, and a support for all of your student members. Let's dive into each of these roles. As an advisor, you should be able to consult on some projects and events that your organization is working on. You should provide support during the event planning process, make sure health and safety protocols are being followed during events, help advise students on funding and other important processes as needed. Most organizations plan an event at some point during the year. To start planning an event, first the students will need to decide on a date, time, and location for their event. It's important to keep in mind other large-scale events or holidays that might overlap with these events when choosing a date and time of the event. Once the students have determined their desired dates, they can submit a reservation request and submit an event on Sun Devil Sync. Make sure that you and your student leaders are aware of the policies regarding COVID-19 when planning the event. There is an additional video available on Canvas that will go over the most up-to-date policies. In some cases, the event may require a special events registration, which can be completed online. If your event does require a special events registration, it's important to know that you must be present at the event as the advisor. This is to make sure that all of the protocols are being followed. Some reasons an event would be considered a special event include an event with more than 50 guests, having food catered at the event, having tents, stages, platforms, inflatables, or other large structures at the event, having any safety concerns including hazardous materials, pyrotechnics, electrical generators, or high-risk activities, and any event that may have a controversial topic or speaker that could attract media attention or require additional security. If the event your organization is planning does have any of these elements, the students should fill out a special event registry, and you or another advisor must be present at the event. If the students are looking to apply for funding through USG or GPSA, they can start filling out the funding information as soon as possible. The students will start by requesting quotes from different vendors. This could be caterers, artists, speakers, rentals, printing, or many other things that might be used for the event. Once they have an idea of the amount of funding they will need, they can submit a budget request through USG or GPSA on Sun Devil Sync. Once approved, the students will need to make a purchase request, and then they can make the purchase using a P-card, reimbursement, or working with the billing staff to provide direct invoices. Students may also choose to use other sources of funding, such as donations, grants, funding from other ASU departments, or funding from student dues. In these cases, the students will be responsible for making sure all costs are covered. If you need any assistance, please reach out to your student engagement office on your campus. Once everything is planned and paid for, you can start thinking about the final details of the event. Does the organization need any additional support at the event, such as volunteers? The students can create event diagrams, schedules, and to-do lists to ensure that they have everything needed for an event to run smoothly. Finally, think about marketing. How will the students market this event? Social media and direct emails are easy ways to engage the members of the organization. If students are looking to do some physical marketing in different buildings on campus, they would need to get permission from the facility staff in that building that they want to hang up flyers. They could also consider tabling outside of the MU or student pavilion in order to further promote their event. Reservations can be made in many different locations on campus. The Sun Devil Fitness Complex and ASU classrooms have many different types of rooms available for student organizations. Additionally, ASU Catering is available and has special offers for student organizations on campus. There are different locations on each campus that a student organization can reserve space in. Make sure to download this presentation to get access to all the links for each campus. These spaces are reservable without any cost to registered student organizations. As mentioned, student organizations can submit funding through the undergraduate student government on their campus. Fall funding will be open over the summer, and students can request funding for general organizations needs as well as event funding. It is crucial to start this process as early as possible with a minimum of 6 weeks before the event. Students will need to attend an appropriations training in order to request funding. More information about how to complete the training and submit requests will be out soon, so make sure to contact your campus USG office with any questions. The Graduate and Professional Student Association also provides event funding to student organizations hosting an event for graduate students. GPSA provides up to $2,000 per event. The request for GPSA funding must be received by the first of the month before the event. So for example, if your event is being hosted on October 23rd, you must submit the funding by September 1st. Visit GPSA's website or contact them via email if you have any additional questions about funding. We want all of our advisors to be familiar with Sun Devil Sync in order to support and assist students in managing their page. Next, we'll go over the user drawer, Explore View, Manage View, and organizational tools. So to get started, we're going to look at your user drawer. So you'll find that by going to the top right corner and clicking on your account. If you don't have a picture uploaded, it will probably be your first initial. So select that, and then you'll want to go to Account. This is where you can edit the information, you can upload a picture if you'd like to do that, and then you can go into notifications. This is where you can adjust what notifications you receive, if they come to the system, which you can find just in your user drawer, or if you want them emailed to you. As an advisor, you may get a lot of notifications about events and budget requests and stuff like that. You might not need to respond to all of them, so you can just decide how many emails you want to get. So next we'll talk about the Explore View versus the Manage View. The Explore View is what a typical user in Sun Devil Sync will see when they log on. So this will be where they can search for different organizations and search for events. First, we'll look at events. They can search for events by campus using the branch option, and they can also sort by different categories as well. You can also search for organizations. So they can search by keyword, different categories, different branches. And so we're going to look at the United Nations Associations page. So here, this would be the view that a student would see if they were just interested in joining an organization. They can see some contact information, a little bit about the organization, and who the different officers are for the organization. So people who have manage access to an organization would have this button up here that says Manage Organization. You can also get to the Manage view by clicking on the 9 little dots next to your account and selecting Manage. So once you go into the Manage view, you'll see your organization's page. If there's any actions that your organization needs to take, they'll come up here. Right now we don't have any, but for re-registration or registering for virtual fairs, they'll come up right here. Next, you'll click on these 3 horizontal lines to open the organization toolbar. Look at the About tool. So this is where you can edit that information that is seen on the main page in the Explore view. You can edit your logo, you can edit the description of your organization. Going back to the organization tools, we'll go to the roster. Now the roster is where you control a lot of different things with the membership of your organization. So you can see all of the members of the organization, and you can also invite people. To invite people, you just need to put their ASU email address, and then you'll want to select if they have a specific position that they're going into. So if you're just adding a new member, you just select member, but if you're adding a new officer, you could select what position they have. Next, we're going to talk about how to create new positions. So you would go to Manage Positions, and then you would add a new position. So this, you can title the position whatever you want, whatever your organization wants to have, and then you want to make sure that you select Officer if you want it to be an officer position. If you want to create different member positions, that's also fine, but just make sure that you select the right thing. And then if you do want them to have access, you'll have to make sure you select All Access here. Then when you go back to the roster page, you can simply find the person's name who you want to add a position to, and then click the little pencil tool to add a position to them. Finally, in the roster tool, you can do messaging to your organization. So you would click on messaging and then create a relay. You can select who the message is going to go to. So if you want it to go to all of your members, you can select that, or you can pick specific positions. Then you'll just enter a title. It doesn't have to be the subject of the email address. It's just whatever you want to call that group. So then when you click create, it will create a relay, which is a temporary email address that will email everybody that has those positions that you selected. So the last thing we're going to look at is events, which your organization should enter any events that they're having on campus or virtually into the events on Sun Devil Sync. So they'll just simply click on events and then create an event. It's pretty straightforward with the questions that it asks. We do have a separate video about creating events if you do want more information on this, but it's pretty straightforward. So then once the events are posted, you can also see all of the events your organization has put on. The other tool that you might need to look at is the finance tool. There will be the appropriations training that will go more into depth about how to use that, but that's the other tool that is commonly used by our students. The next role you play as an advisor is a mentor. As a mentor, you will assist your students understanding university policies, collaborate as a team with your student leaders, and provide expert insight into the organization. All student leaders should be aware of the Student Code of Conduct. It is important to remember that this applies to students at any time and anywhere. So even if your organization is planning an event off campus, the Student Code of Conduct still applies. These 4 policies are important to be aware of when working with student organizations. F11 prohibits students from interfering or disrupting university activities. This may come up when planning events with sound amplification where classes are taking place. When reserving a space, students should make sure to include any information about sound amplification and follow any policies specific to the area that they are requesting. F12 prohibits students from misrepresenting themselves. Student organizations should always make sure that their communication indicates that they are a student-ran organization and not an official entity of the university. This includes utilizing copyrighted materials that are not permitted for student organizations to use as well. F19 states student organizations cannot engage with any sort of hazing behavior on or off campus. So this is important to remember that no matter where the organization is operating, they need to make sure that they're following the Student Code of Conduct. F21 states that all student organizations must be open to any student and they may not engage in any discriminatory activities. Student organizations are able to invite any speaker to campus that they wish. We encourage you and your students to get connected with our office if you are bringing a speaker on campus so we can assist with the event planning process and provide the best practice for student organization speaker events and demonstrations. Be aware that any speech that threatens others is not protected as free speech. Advisor, you are part of the team that is leading the student organization. You should be familiar with the organization's governing documents and can help guide the students through any accountability or conflict concerns that come up in the organization. You can also act as a mediator if conflict does come up. In the Canvas page, you will find this document called Advisor and Officer Leadership Team Plan. This can be used to guide a conversation around accountability, scheduling, and more ways that your team can work efficiently. Make sure to reach out to your student engagement office if any issues do arise so we can provide additional support. As the advisor of an organization, you may be the expert in the room on the organization and the interests of the organization. Oftentimes, advisors are in the role for longer than the student leaders, so you can provide context and history of the organization. Consider how you can utilize professional or academic organizations to provide knowledge to your organization. You can also utilize your professional network to bring in different ideas and topics that may be of interest to the group. Finally, consider how you can support skill building for your student leaders. Do you have knowledge or skills that you think would benefit your students in their careers? Think about the ways that you can work with the student leader team to bring these skills to the general members. Finally, as an advisor, you offer support to the student organization and its members. You can help the group set achievable goals, encourage collaboration, and provide campus resources. As your group is setting goals, you'll want to encourage them to make their goals SMART. This means that their goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. This will guarantee that their goals are achievable and that they will know when they have accomplished their goal. For example, a student may come up with the goal of getting more members, but a SMART goal would be to recruit at least 20 new members at the next student involvement fair. That goal is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based, so it's a lot easier to track and see if they accomplish the goal. There are many ways that student organizations can connect with different departments on campus. Student and Cultural Engagement houses the Council of Coalitions, which are student-led organizations focused on different cultures and identities. If your organization would like to be a part of a coalition, they will need to indicate that during the registration process. Student and Cultural Engagement also hosts Heritage Weeks and months throughout the year. Student organization leaders are encouraged to be a part of any of these Heritage Month committees, or they can also host an event that would be a part of the Heritage celebration. Student and Cultural Engagement also offers various workshops such as the Sun Devil Civility Workshops and Safe Zone Training. Your organization can request these workshops to be done during their general body meetings, or they can attend these trainings separately. The Changemaker office on each campus offers opportunities for students to host community service sites as a part of our Days of Service or as a part of Devils in Disguise in the spring. Changemaker also offers community action grants every semester, which students can apply for. These grants can provide funding for community-wide projects that your organization might be working on. Sun Devil Fitness and Wellness offers many different spaces students can reserve on each campus with the Sun Devil Fitness Center. Additionally, your club may have ideas for ways to collaborate with the Sun Devil Wellness staff. For example, the Black African Coalition recently hosted an event for Black History Month where students could participate in a grind group fitness class. Other organizations have done collaborations with yoga events or other activities that are taking place at the SDFC. The SDFW also offers Team Challenge, which is a custom-made activity focused on communication, critical thinking, and other team-building skills that your organization can request to build these skills among their members. Now that you know your role as advisor, I'll quickly go over some of the things your organization officers will need to complete the registration process so that you can help make sure that they have everything they need. The officer completing the registration will need information from each officer and you as their advisor. They will need to make sure they have the ASU email, phone number, ASU Right username, and your ASU position. Your organization will need to make sure that their name is consistent throughout their Sun Devil Sync page and other pages associated with their organization. Student organization names cannot use ASU or Arizona State University in the beginning of their name. ASU can only be used as a geographical indicator. So in this example, an organization could not call themselves the ASU Chess Club, but they could be the Chess Club at ASU. Student organizations are permitted to use the Sparky logo or the Sparky pitchfork as part of their organization logo or any printed materials they create. However, other ASU logos are not permitted to be used by student organizations. Before re-registering, you and the officers should review and update the organization's constitution. Make sure that the non-discrimination statement is included, update any officers, election processes, or any processes for handling conflict. On the Canvas page, we have a constitution template that could be helpful to utilize if your organization is struggling to update their constitution. If you do have any questions or need assistance, please feel free to reach out to the Student Engagement Office on your campus. We are happy to help collaborate, offer best practices, and provide you with any resources your organization may need. Make sure that you complete the quiz in order to finish this training. Thank you so much for your continued support of our students at ASU, and we really appreciate the efforts that you put into your student organization this year.